Crib notes?
I'd like to officially call to order the regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting of July the 11th. Madam Commission Secretary, please take the roll call.
Commissioner Armando,
Present.
Commissioner Barajas,
Present.
Commissioner Fuentes,
Here.
Vice Chair Carter,
Present.
Chair Ledden.
Here. Commissioner Fuentes, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? We'd ask the audience to please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Everyone may be seated. This is the time for public comments to address the Commission on matters not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of our Commission. As a reminder, if you would like to participate, please fill out an orange speaker card, turn it into the Commission Secretary, and your name will be called. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. When you are called to speak, you will see 3 lights, the first being green. When you have 30 seconds left, the light will turn to yellow. When your time is expired, the light will turn to red. At that time, your public comment period is ended, and the Commission requests that you conclude your comments. Madam Commission Secretary, have we received any speaker cards?
I have not.
Okay. This is a time for the Commission to consider matters listed under the consent calendar, which includes items 1. Do any of the Commissioners wish to discuss any of these items, or is there a motion to consider these items?
Move consent.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's vote.
Motion passes with Commissioner Armando abstaining.
I assume that's correct since I was not at the meeting, correct? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we will open the public hearing for item number 2. Community Development Director Gail Ackerman will introduce this item.
Yes, our first item this evening is a use permit for a new heavy automotive repair business on Dimension Drive, and Jennifer Mansour has a report this evening.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. This item is a use permit for a new heavy auto repair business, Caliber Collision Center, proposed to be located in an existing building at the corner of Dimension Drive and Prison Place. The building is currently occupied by Blair's Towing, which was originally approved in 1991 by the county. The facility has an existing use permit, which allows a vehicle towing and impound facility, truck rentals, and minor auto repair within the building. The resolution for this new use permit would rescind the original use permit at the site. The new business is proposing an automotive body repair facility that will include the removal and replacement of damaged vehicle parts, preparation and painting of vehicles, and automotive detailing. Most vehicles repaired at the business have been in a vehicular accident, and some vehicles will arrive by tow truck. All auto body repair activities, with the exception of the automotive detailing, will occur in the interior of the building. The interior of the building will be modified to accommodate the new use, including the installation of auto body repair equipment, an auto lift, and a spray booth. The project includes 3 exterior modifications to the site: a new outdoor detailing area with a covered canopy, a new exhaust stack located above the roof line for the building, as required by the South Coast Air Quality Management District, or AQMD, and new tan and black building colors. The proposed project is in compliance with the city's zoning code requirements, including parking, and the citywide design guidelines. The project is also in compliance with the water quality regulations. The outdoor detailing area is designed so there's no water runoff into the storm drains. And the water quality management plan for the project includes best management practices, such as filters in the catch basins and water quality employee training to ensure any water runoff from the site is not contaminated. The proposed business is located on its own parcel and accessed via existing driveways on Dimension Drive and Prison Place. The project is located over 1,000 feet from the nearest residentially zoned property. The site is in an existing industrial area that includes a variety of different uses. The project site is directly across Prison Place from Bella Montessori School and Wildfire Gymnastics, both of which have children at the site. Both Bella Montessori and Wildfire Gymnastics have site development permits that were approved by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission made findings that these uses were compatible with the surrounding industrial area, including the current towing facility that is at the site. The proposed business has similar operational characteristics as the existing towing facility in that tow trucks will access the site, all automotive repair will be conducted inside the building, and the storage of vehicles will be located in the fenced rear area and meets the city's parking requirements. The main operational differences between the existing towing facility and this new facility is the outdoor detailing area and the spray booth. The outdoor detailing area is located on the side of the building farthest from Prison Place in a rear fenced area and will not be readily visible from the public street. The equipment used in the detailing area will only be used intermittently through the day. As conditioned, the equipment will be required to meet the city's noise ordinance. The proposed spray booth will be located inside the building and includes an exhaust stack that extends above the roof of the building. The spray booth and the related exhaust stack are regulated and require a permit from AQMD to ensure the exhaust from the stack is properly filtered prior to release in the air. Conditions of approval have been included with this project to ensure the compatibility of the facility with the surrounding uses, some of which include the requirement for the AQMD permit, compliance with the city's noise ordinance, requirement that all activities, with the exception of the detailing services, shall be conducted within the interior of the building, and the storage of vehicles undergoing repair shall be conducted inside the building or in the fenced yard area. In summary, the proposed use is operationally similar to the existing towing facility at the site, which was deemed compatible with the surrounding industrial uses, the Bella Montessori School, and Wildfire Gymnastics. Accordingly, the new business, as conditioned, will not create any additional traffic, parking, or noise impacts on the surrounding area. Accordingly, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution approving the use permit as conditioned. The applicant for this project is in the audience tonight, and I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Do we have any other members of the public wishing to speak on the matter?
Randy Orozco.
Okay. If you could give us your name and your city of residence, that would be helpful.
Okay. My name is Randy Orozco. I live in the city of Garden Grove. Anything else? If not, okay. I'm with RPO Designs. I work with Caliber Collision quite a bit. We design quite a bit of buildings. Caliber has over 250 stores in California. We are a good neighbor client, and we abide by all city laws, including AQMD, fire being the most specific. We have spray booths in every single facility. We are good with our neighbors, we participate in the community, and we do everything that we possibly can. Caliber volunteers and includes a lot of programs. They do a lot with the military service as far as donations, food drives, fundraisers, and so on. It's throughout the country. They have over 1,100 facilities in the United States. They're not going away, but there's a lot of cars. They all need to be repaired, and they all need to go somewhere. So, thank you. We're here to help. If there's anybody that needs questions, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry, a little nervous.
That's okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have parade walkers amongst all your volunteers? We have a big parade here.
No. I'm sure we could throw out some flyers and get some participants.
Yeah, okay. So maybe it was just last week, so maybe you could start marching now and be ready for the 4th next year. Yeah, it's a tough one, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd probably be in shape by the time next year rolls around.
There you go.
Any other questions?
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
More relevant, but I do want to see you in the parade.
Personal opinion?
What? I don't have a personal opinion. This is actually operational.
Okay.
You're going to be open from 7 to 6 daily, is that correct?
Yes.
Saturday and Sundays. What happened? Do cars normally get delivered to your facility after hours? And, how long do they generally, because I know a tow truck's not going to sit there and wait for you to open up. They drop them. So what generally is the turnaround so you can get them back in behind the fences?
I want to step in here a little bit. My name's Andy Jones. I'm with Caliber Collision, and I got a little more operational experience than Randy does.
Can I get your city of residence, please?
Mesa, Arizona.
Thank you.
The way Caliber Collision operates is, yes, tow trucks try and drop vehicles off. However, Caliber, they want to try and drop vehicles off at night. However, Caliber does not let that happen because we want to intake the vehicle when somebody can actually be there to accept the vehicle from a tow truck driver. I can't guarantee they won't drop it off, but our practice is we want to accept that vehicle from the tow truck driver before it comes onto our property. So we possess the vehicle as opposed to just being left on our lot.
Very good.
So
That answered my question perfectly.
Let me ask you, step back for a second, please. Thanks. So let's say, I don't know if you have a contract with the police departments or whatever, but let's say they tow a car out of a wreck at midnight. They would, at that point, probably not tow it to your facility. They tow it to a storage facility.
correct,
and
a
from
tow
that-
facility of some sort.
Okay, and then once they make arrangements for repair, then they would tow it from that facility to your facility during the day. Is that?
That is correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, everything with Caliber is done through a call center. So if a customer has an accident, they call their insurance company and say, where should I drop it off? They give them recommendations. You call our corporate number and they tell you, this is the closest place for you to take your car to.
Right, well, but if it's not drivable.
Correct.
They would tow it from a wreck to a facility. And
Exactly.
at that point, they would tow it to your
Again,
facility.
I can't say it won't happen. We're working on that because we take a huge liability for them dropping on our lot as well. So
Okay, and regarding detail, so the stuff inside, I would assume it's, the pounding and whatnot is
yeah,
hopefully kept to a minimum because it's inside and maybe,
Correct.
whatever. So the detailing outside, that's just like waxing and,
that's just a wash off of what we've done to return the car back to the customer.
okay, and
We're not applying a whole bunch of waxes and products. We're just any work that we did, any dust that we might have created during the process, we're washing it to give back to the customer.
so detailing might be overstating.
Yes,
that
but
as
for some
common knowledge.
yeah,
You just-
exactly.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, do we have any other speakers?
No, we do not.
Has the commission secretary received any written communications regarding this matter which have not been distributed?
I have not.
I sure can. Yep.
Okay, since, you have any other comments before you sit down?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do any members of the commission have any further questions or comments for discussion? Do we have a motion to consider bringing this item back up here and approving, presenting a motion?
Sure, I'll bring it back up here. I'll close the public hearing, and I will make a motion to accept staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Congratulations. Welcome to Lake Forest. Okay, now we will open the public hearing for item number 3, and Community Development Director Gail Ackerman will introduce this item.
Yes, our second item this evening, a use permit and minor plan sign program and a temporary model complex and model home identification signage for the Amara development. And Jennifer Mansour has this report as well.
Hello again. The item before you tonight is a use permit and plan sign program for a model home complex for the new Amara neighborhood, which will be located in the southern portion of the Serrano Summit community. The Amara neighborhood was approved by the Planning Commission on March 14th and will include 101 detached single-family residences. The proposed model home complex is located near the entry of the Amara neighborhood on Serrano Summit Drive. The complex is adjacent to the future residences of the new Terracina residential community and the existing condominium building on Marin in the Willow Glen community, which sits approximately 30 feet lower than the complex. The proposed model home complex will include 3 model homes, a sales office in the garage of one of the model homes, landscaping, and a parking lot. The proposed hours of operation for the model home complex will be daily from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and will close an hour earlier in the winter months, not the summer month as stated in the staff report. The proposed parking lot lighting, as conditioned, will be shielded from the adjacent residential properties, and significant noise will not be generated by the operation of a model home complex. The complex only operates during daylight hours and as conditioned will be closed by 6 p.m. daily. In addition, the access to the model home complex will be from Serrano Summit Drive, which would not conflict with the traffic from the adjacent residential uses, which are accessed from Peachwood. Accordingly, the model home complex is not in conflict with the nearby residential uses and is in compliance with our city zoning code. This project also includes a minor plan sign program for temporary model home complex signage. The developer is proposing to have 6 types of signs, all of which will be located on private property. The signage won't be visible from any of the existing streets, and the number, size, and height of the proposed model home signs are comparable to the other previously approved sign programs we've seen from the other residential developments, and will meet the city's zoning code requirements. Accordingly, staff is recommending the Planning Commission adopt 2 resolutions approving both the use permit and the minor plan sign program. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, and the applicant is in the audience tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer. Do you have members of the public wishing to speak on this matter?
No, we do not.
Okay. Seeing we have no other members, we'll close the public part of the hearing. Has the commission secretary received any written communications regarding this?
I have not.
Okay. Do any members of the commission have further questions of the applicant? Okay. Do I have a motion to consider approving the item as recommended by staff?
A motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Looks like you're set to go. We'll now open the public hearing for item number 4, and Community Development Director Gail Ackerman will introduce this item.
Yes, this evening we have 2 additional neighborhoods for the Serrano Summit project for the Commission's consideration. And the first project we'll be looking at is 120 multi-family dwelling units on a 6-acre site. And Amanda Loffer has a report this evening.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. The item before you tonight is a multifamily residential neighborhood called Covera in the Serrano Summit development. This is the 3rd out of the 6 residential neighborhoods in the Serrano Summit development to be presented before you. This project consists of a site development permit for the development of 120 condominium units on a 6.4-acre site in the northern portion of the Serrano Summit development. This neighborhood is located on Lot 1 of the previously approved tentative tract map 18189, which was approved earlier this year by the Planning Commission. This proposed development includes 120 condominium units, each with a 2-car attached garage. The units are arranged in 4-plex, 5-plex, or 6-plex layout with private alleyways to access the attached garages. In addition to the attached garages, a total of 74 surface parking spaces are provided within the neighborhood, and 59 on-street parking spaces are provided along the private streets for homeowner and guest use. The floor plans range between 3 and 4 bedrooms and vary between approximately 1,800 square feet and 2,200 square feet. Each floor plan also includes private open spaces on the 1st and 2nd floors. There are 3 different architectural styles proposed for each building type, including Monterey Abstract, Spanish Abstract, and Modern Ranch. There is also a total of 7 different color schemes for the architectural styles. Landscaping, including trees, shrubs, vines, and ground cover, is proposed in the common areas throughout the neighborhood, which will be maintained by the Homeowners Association. Overall, the project is in compliance with the city's zoning code and Serrano Summit area plan. Staff is recommending the Planning Commission adopt the resolution to approve the site development permit for this project subject to the conditions of approval. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak on this matter?
I have not received any cards.
Would the applicant like to come up and make a presentation at this time? If not, that's okay. We can go on our own if you don't want to. Okay, apparently not. So have we received any written communication on this matter?
We have not.
Then I would say that we close the public hearing. Any members of the commission have questions or comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to, so on our thing we got here, I've got page number 7 of 13. It's got Spanish Abstract 5-plex, and then it says Modern Ranch 6-plex. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they've got those switched because I'm counting the doors, and the 5-plex have 6 doors and the 6-plex has 5 doors. So is that Am I correct in assuming that that's switched?
Might be.
So,
Yes, that was probably my error with the,
Okay.
each different type of, each
got it.
building type has a different architectural style. So the fourplex has one style, the fiveplex has a different style, and the sixplex has another
okay, so that
architectural
was
style.
just a error putting it in
Yes.
whatever. And I'm assuming that the fiveplex has 5 garages and the sixplex has 6 garages.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not suggesting that that was more important, but did Lennar walk in the parade? Not that I'm trying to take the heat off of you. But I don't think they did they?
No. I have a question. I noted on the deal that you have handicap units. I don't believe I've ever observed that in any of the ones that have come before us where they actually have designated within the unit itself a handicap. What does that handicap unit consist of?
I'll need your name and city of residence, please.
My name is Vivian Extel, and I live in the city of Orange. So per building code, we are required to give 10% of the total of the units to be ADA. In this case, we have 120 units, so we have 12 units that's accessible in different buildings, in different locations.
Now, the reason why I find it interesting because I had never seen them designated before in any plan I think I've seen. But as far as the ADA compliance, will the walkways and everything that's associated with those particular units will be ADA, so they won't have steps
The first floor, that's correct.
on the first floor?
The first floor.
Okay, so only the first floor is ADA compliant?
Oh, the first floor is correct.
That was my question. I couldn't see how it would be possible to have a
It's only-
multi-story unless you really went, completely overboard. So for those particular units, they come with the ground floor ADA compliant, so no steps, no nothing.
That's
Bathroom
correct.
on the first
The
floor is
bathroom
ADA
doors are
compliant.
wider, yeah.
Everything is, okay, that is very interesting. I don't believe I have ever seen that previously. Uh, Thank you. I do have another question, if I may. And I note that, and I don't know if I should be asking you or asking staff, but I note that we have made recommendation to have a condition of approval in the CC&Rs for keeping the garage available for parking of vehicles. I talked to the city attorney this afternoon because I'm wondering if, and I don't know, maybe this is more appropriately directed to Gail, whether or not it would be to our benefit to put a condition in there because of the additional surface parking and guest parking within a condominium unit, or have had experience in the community where people start charging, the association feels that they can charge for those spots. And they've also, I know in a couple of instances, have painted the curbs within their deal. And I want to make sure that that does not occur. So I don't know if it's appropriate to put it into the CC&Rs so that the association is apprised of that fact, that these are guest parking and they're not designated for individual units as far as I know. And if we have a city ordinance that I'm not aware of, please apprise me of that so I can not ask the same question on the next one we have, okay?
So, Chair, Commissioners, yes, we chatted about this evening, and there is a section in the Lake Forest Municipal Code, I think it's 9.168040 or 060, one of those two, and it basically provides that when there are code required parking spaces, those code required parking spaces cannot be leased, rented out, or otherwise made unavailable. So to the extent a project has more than the required number of parking spaces, those may be rented, leased out, or, however they want to kind of encumber those. And so here, the city has had parking enforcement issues with developments and has used that code section to enforce against developments. So it's really up to the discretion of the commission now, to decide whether that code is meeting the needs of, what the commission believes should be imposed on the development, or if something else needs to be imposed on that.
Okay. The reason why I asked, it seems simple to me that if you have a use permit that has it stipulated in it that it's there, that in violation of that, you revoke the use permit. It's an automatic return to the planning commission for consideration and things of that nature. I want to make sure that if it's not included within that, now you got a legal process that you're going through. I don't know which is better. Gail, you might be able to shed light on that, because I still don't understand with the situations we've had with some of the apartment complexes with the use permit, that's what I assume they're operating under, where they have in fact gone out and have painted the curbs and or charged for those units. They are in violation of that use permit. But I haven't seen any of them even being mentioned coming back to the commission. So I want to make sure that, because this is going to be an issue that's going to come up more and more and more with the more parking issues we have. And I'd like to remedy it in some manner to where it is on record that if it stipulates that within the use permit, okay, we have authority to pull that permit back to us. And I don't know what the ramifications would be of that. And I don't know who we even go against in that situation, because I don't know whether the association would be in violation of the use permit. I don't think so. The applicant's no longer there available to us. Okay. So it seems as though you paint yourself into a corner with no remedy out other than going to court. But if it's put in as a conditional use or a condition of that the CCNRs are apprised of the fact that these parking spaces are to remain unencumbered, I think that gives us a little more leverage.
If I may, Chair, Commissioners, typically when there's an enforcement issue relating to that particular code section that I just spoke of, it goes through administrative citation. So it doesn't necessarily have to go through, a civil court process or a criminal process even. Code enforcement has, in these type of cases, gone out and cited the property owner. And in that case, we've had pretty good success in gaining compliance through that way. Working with the developments and kind of talking through why this might be happening, explaining that no, they can't charge for those code required parking spaces.
Question then, were they aware of the fact that they could not charge? They probably were not. And that's why I'm saying it might be a vehicle that we can circumvent some issues if in fact we state it within the conditional use as part of the CCNRs.
Right. So we were just chatting here, and to your first question, you're right. It's not widely known. It did come as a surprise, I think, to some of those multifamily developments where they didn't know about that code section. And so one thought was to put it into the CCNRs. We typically will review the CCNRs and we'll add language about keeping the garages open, and we could certainly add that as into the CCNRs as well to give everyone notice.
I would, my personal preference would be to do so. That way they are fully aware of the fact that, these are for guests, etc. And it just gives more credence to, not creating a problem down the road that they were unaware of, or this tells them right up front and it's in the CCNR. So that's just my comment, and I'll see if my colleagues agree. Thank you.
Can I ask one question regarding your description of how that works? You said that level of enforcement applies only to the required parking spaces, not to the ones that they have in excess of the required number?
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was clear on that. Thank you.
So I would just be curious what the landowner thinks about Mr. Carter's idea.
Go for it. He's going to be out of the picture.
Right.
I need your name and city of residence, please.
Yes, Jim Neal, Mission Viejo. So as the master developer, I thought I'd jump up here and respond to that. I would not have a problem with you adding that kind of language in the CCNRs or whatever is appropriate. Currently, I think, as Gail might have alluded to, we've submitted the CCNRs for review with the city, so they're going through that process right now. So it would be an easy time to add any additional language.
Thank you. I didn't think you would. Like I say, you're out of the picture by the time we have the problem, so.
But it makes sense to me.
It does. It makes
what you explained.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why we haven't done it previously. I'd like to go retroactive if I could, but that's a thought to go with that somehow. But
I was going to note that it is in our code, so
It's in-
so people may not be aware of it, but as soon as someone calls and says we have a problem, something's happening in this complex, we send kind of a team out to go take a look at what's going on and to survey parking. And when the first time we sit down with the owner or manager of a complex, we make sure they're aware that that's not a practice that can be done.
Okay, I'm just trying to add this so we can circumvent that situation. I mean, they're aware of it right up front. It's part of the use permit approval that we signed off on, and I think it's appropriate to put that in as a notation within the CCNRs. Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have any other commissioners that have comments or questions?
I possibly, I don't know if you looked at the CCNRs, maybe there is something in there that says a car has to be parked in the garage. Oh, you looked at them already?
Yeah, that's.
You looked at theirs?
No,
Looked
but
at- okay.
there is already a condition within the permit that conditions that the cars will be placed in the garage, and it also goes to the extent that they can inspect the garages, which really I think is great. But it makes no reference to the spaces that are on site for guest parking, et cetera. And that's what I'm concerned about. It's a two-edged sword. I mean, one creates a problem for one, and then it trickles down, so anybody that's adjacent to them is the recipient of the car that the guy says, well, I'm not going to pay, I'm going to park on the street. And whose street is he going to park on? Well, the next associations. So it's not contained within the conditions of approval. I just like to put it in there as a note to go into the CCNRs.
So you're basically talking about the 24 guest parking spaces.
Actually, what you have here, you've identified 74 open parking spaces, okay? And you have 59 guest parking spaces.
Excuse me, 59.
Well, actually, there's more than that, because if you take the 74 and the 59, those are the ones we're counting on to be available for people to park in, whether they be the tenant or whether they be the guest.
But how many of those are required is the question.
It's 72 required versus 74 proposed, so 2 of those would be open to be charged if they wanted to.
No.
And then 24 required, 59 proposed.
Right.
So that difference they would be able to do whatever they wanted over that required 24.
If I may interject, I would not approve this application if there was not the additional parking spaces, because they would not make the approval. If we permit the association to charge and displace anything that takes it below the 373 criteria that we're approving in here, we've sort of just, why even consider it?
No, I think what we want to look at, there's 2 different parking summary tables in the report. So on page 10 is the code required parking, which is different than the 373. We're just making the point that there's code required parking, and that's 336 spaces, and those can never be leased or charged for. But there's more parking on the street. So we're just noting in the report that we always look, and we've been doing this in all the Baker Ranch projects too, that here's the code required parking, but let's kind of take a look around this neighborhood to make sure that there's, that we have kind of a cushion. So the 373 represents a cushion, and those are spaces, some of those are out on the street, but the code required is less, it's the 336.
Okay. Whatever it is, whatever we can do to put this in place to circumvent yours or code enforcement or whatever have you from doing it. They're going to do it sometime anyway. Okay, but at least this gives us the advantage in that it was a condition of approval. Okay, and part of that condition is, well, you can lease this, or you can do that, or you can park a bus in there if you wish, an association bus, which wouldn't be wouldn't be a problem. But I just like to see.
We don't
something
allow
in-
that.
You won't allow that either. But I just like to see if we can get that in the CCNRs.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Can I have a motion for approval?
I,
You have a question? I'm sorry.
yeah, we're approved. I'm not sure which we're approving.
Well,
I
I'm
think-
looking for
I
a
think
motion
I'm-
right now.
My
Right now, we
personal-
haven't done a motion, so we're not approving anything
Okay,
until we get a
so
motion.
my personal thing was if it's in the city ordinance that's preventing that, I would, that's good enough for me. So.
Okay, we'll excuse the applicant. You don't have to stand up there if you don't want to. That was the question. Is that we haven't really made the motion yet, so
We haven't
if
made
you
the
want to
motion.
make.
Why don't we
the
let
motion-
Dave make the motion,
Yeah,
and then
I'd
you'll
like to
understand.
make the motion if I may. I'd like to close the public hearing. And I'd like to approve staff's recommendation. And that I would also request that a condition of approval be put in to address the, that the CCNRs include a statement that the additional parking as stipulated are noted, that they're not to be encumbered in any manner. I don't know if that's the terms or whatever have you, but.
Right. So I think it's the code required spaces that would
Okay,
track with
code
the
required
Lake
spaces,
Forest
that's the
Municipal
term,
Code.
yes.
Are we clear now on what the motion is? Everybody's clear?
Or you want me to restate all that? Okay, are you there? On base? Okay. Move staff, close the
Public hearing.
public hearing. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
Make staff recommendation with the inclusion of a note that a condition be put that the CCNRs include that the code required spaces remain unencumbered. I think that would be the terminology.
I'll second that.
All the commissioners are clear on the motion. Call for the vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, now we'll open the public hearing on item number 5. And Gail, would you like to talk about that one?
I would love to, but I'm going to let Amanda talk about it because she did such a nice job talking about the previous one.
I hope she has her numbers right.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll make sure she can tell a 5-plex.
Mom and Dad
from
are
a
watching.
6-plex. Okay, so item 5 is a use permit. This was processed by Debbie Drassler, our contract planner, who couldn't be here this evening, but Amanda is standing in to pinch it for Debbie tonight. And this is a use permit for 51 single-family detached dwellings, also in Serrano Summit.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. The item before you tonight is a single-family detached condominium neighborhood called Castellon in the Serrano Summit development. This is the 4th out of the 6th residential neighborhood in the Serrano Summit development to be presented before you. The project consists of a use permit for the development of 51 units in the northerly portion of the Serrano Summit development. Pursuant to the Serrano Summit Area Plan, a use permit is required because the applicant is requesting an exception to the development standards for the front yard setback, distance between structures, and rear yard wall heights. The proposed development includes 51 2- and 3-story detached condominium dwelling units, each with an attached 2-car garage. The units are designed as a motor court home where each home's attached garage is located off a common alley, typically in an 8-unit clustered configuration. The project includes 4 residential floor plans that range from approximately 1,900 square feet to 3,300 square feet. There are 3 different architectural styles proposed for each floor plan, which includes transitional, contemporary Spanish, and contemporary hacienda. Each architectural style includes 3 different color schemes for a total of 9 color schemes for the development. The project has been designed so that no more than 2 adjacent residences will be the same floor plan or architectural style within each motor court enclave. Landscaping, including trees, shrubs, vines, and ground cover, is proposed within the front yards of each lot, all of which will be maintained by the homeowners association. The home site's private side and rear yard landscaping will be installed and maintained by future homeowners. The proposed project includes a variety of approved walls as well as vinyl fencing between residential lots, which was not listed as an approved wall type in the area plan. All interior rear wall yards will be comprised of masonry walls. Exterior rear yards will be comprised of wrought iron fencing to provide open views towards the surrounding vistas in compliance with the area plan. The applicant is requesting an exception to the development standards for front yard setbacks along the exterior property line and the minimum building separation requirement for court-loaded detached enclave neighborhoods. Additionally, the applicant is requesting a minor deviation to the maximum exposed retaining wall height requirement listed in the area plan for walls and fences. The requested deviations affect a total of 21 home sites throughout the development. As described in the staff report, the proposed exceptions are minor in nature and will not change the overall characteristic of the single-family neighborhood. In addition, the requested deviations to the front yard setback, minimum building separation, and retaining wall fence height would continue to maintain the required line of sight clearance for pedestrian and vehicle traffic. Overall, the project, with the approval of this use permit, will be in compliance with the city's zoning code and Serrano Summit area plan. Staff is recommending the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution to approve the use permit for this project, subject to the conditions of approval. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Do we have any other members of the public wishing to speak on the matter?
I have not received any speaker cards.
Okay. Has the commission secretary received any written communications regarding this matter?
No, I have not.
Okay, then I would say that we close the hearing and bring it back up here. Do any members of the commission have questions or comments?
I'll have some comments. I don't have any problem with the 3 deviations that are being submitted. The wall height, it's going to be an open wrought iron on the top of that, so it's not going to be formidable, and it's not that much, really. It's too bad it's linear and not tiered, but it looks like it's a straight across linear line on that. And as far as the distances between and the setbacks, I'd like to note that, you know, the applicant is, when you go at the, well, they're above the requirements on almost all instances for open space or setbacks in all the other areas, with the exception of these 5. I think the setback criteria is, they're more than that's required, so I don't have an issue with that. Once again, I'd like to enter a request that we add the comment to the CCNRs as a condition of approval to address the parking as we have in our previous application. The same things apply here. It just makes sense to make them apprised of the fact that those are to remain unencumbered, and I would propose the same language in both, standardized if we could. So that's about all I had. I'm not hot on the transitional architecture, but that's just because I'm an old dog and I like, you know, pitched roofs and things of that nature. But that's just the way the world changes, and get out of the way or get run over, I guess. So that's all I have.
Any other commissioners wish to make a comment or have a question? If not, would somebody like to make a motion for approval of staff recommendation?
Go ahead, Colleen.
Well, I'll make the motion to accept staff recommendation and add the stipulation with the parking and code enforcement,
Do we have a second?
and close the public hearing.
On the memo, do we have to
Inclusion on the
include
memo.
that too? We have to include the menu as, the memo as a
think-
correction?
You didn't hear me say include the memo?
Oh, did you? No, I didn't. I did not.
I guess we're getting deaf in our old age. Anyway,
Close the public hearing?
Yes, we already closed that.
I did it all.
You got it all?
Trust me.
Okay.
So we have a
Yeah,
second,
right.
Who seconded it? Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. Then why don't we call for the vote?
Motion passes unanimously.
Congratulations, you're good to go. Thanks for coming in.
Chair Ludden, if I may, I believe that Commissioner Fuentes mentioned the errata in the erratum for the memo that was on the dais. And so I don't think that deletion was mentioned in the previous motion. So if we could, it was.
It was, no, it was not.
It was not.
It should have been. That's an
That's
oversight.
correct.
I thought it was for the last item.
Absolutely. So what we can do now is reopen the public hearing for the previous item.
Okay.
Reconsider the item with the motion.
Okay.
We
Or
will
with
reopen.
Oh, so I wasn't supposed to say it.
No.
No,
I
you
was
were.
correct.
Okay. Oh, get you.
Okay, then we will
Okay.
reopen the public hearing for item number 5.
Four.
4, I'm sorry, 4.
Then I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing once again. And my motion would be the same as the previous motion, but make the notation that we identify and take notice of the memorandum that was also included. Okay? And then,
And I think I seconded that.
did you? Good.
Maybe.
You can do it now. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We can call for the vote.
All right.
Motion passes unanimously.
Did we vote on the last one?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. We did.
Are you in the parade?
Okay, we have director's comments.
I just have a few comments this evening. Actually, I just have one. We're going to be polling the commission about our schedule between now and the end of the year. We're actually going to be quite busy starting September, October, November. And we're going to be requesting that we schedule 2 special meetings in the month of December, that we cancel our regular December the 12th meeting and hold 2 meetings instead of 1. I'm just going to give you a lot of notice because it is obviously going to be around Christmas time. So the big projects we have coming up, the Nikasi General Plan Amendment and then the city's general plan. So we're working very diligently to get these projects moved from Planning Commission, get a recommendation, get it to City Council. And so we would actually, the City Council also were requesting that they schedule some special meetings as well. So I will send that to you so you can compare it in your calendar. So when you get that request, you'll know a little bit more what it's about. We're also looking to come a little bit earlier on the Nikasi project to the commission. Some of the commission members are new. So right now our scheduled public hearings are November 14th, but we would come in October with maybe a workshop, a preview, something, because there'll be a lot of material between those 2 projects. There's going to be a lot of paper. We're going to be testing the storage capacity of the iPads. So I'll put something in the mail or send an email out, and hopefully that will work and we can find the right dates that will get us through to the end of the year. That's all.
City Attorney, do you have any comments?
No comment.
Moving on to the commission members, Commissioner Armando.
2 things. First, we were talking about maybe doing a tour of the new city hall. Do we have, is that still in the works, or are they going to let us?
We're working on that. If someone were to happen to stop by my office at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, I could pretty much assure you that you could have a tour. So if anyone is around, stop by. We do. The scaffolding is off the building. A lot of people toured the building earlier, a lot of staff members, and we have another tour. We have to make sure we've got the construction workers off the site, and there's a lot of logistics to getting that. But there is a casual behind-the-scenes tour tomorrow, 3 o'clock.
Okay. And then the other thing is, I know quite a long time ago, we approved the U-Haul for where the nursery was there on Geronimo and was it Cherry, whatever they, and I go by there quite often. It just seems like nothing's going on. Do you have any update on what the plan is for that, or what's What's
We've,
going on with that?
the staff has been meeting with U-Haul. They're completing the plan check process. They, they're out of state. They primarily, the team is from Arizona. They use the local architect. So the coordination has been a little bit challenging, but they are close to being able to have a permit issued.
Okay, but they're still planning on going
Yes.
forward and all
Yes.
that. So, okay, thanks.
Commissioner Barajas, do you have a comment?
No comment.
Commissioner Fuentes, you always have a comment.
I don't.
Okay. We'll take that for something new. Vice Chair Carter.
I have two. I prefer not to do the December 12th deal. That's my birthday. I would much rather be out partying than in here. So I'm full favor of making 2 meetings. I'll sacrifice another Tuesday.
That's actually really why we're changing the meeting.
Thank
It's
you.
not about the
Thank
general
you.
plan
I
at
thought
all.
It might have had
It's-
something to do with that. And the second thing, I'd just like to let everybody know that I'm going to be putting on the A Night Under the Stars Gala for the Boys and Girls Club fundraising. It'll be on October the 11th. We'll hold it here in the city of Lake Forest at the Place, is what I believe it's called now, on Aspen. So it's going to be a Mediterranean theme based on the Phantom. So, well, Venetian, little mask and stuff. Never mind. It looks to be a lot of fun.
Oh, kind of like in Venice.
Well, yeah.
Carnival.
Carnival. That's
Yes.
actually what it is. If I hope some of you have received an email blast. The last was one sent out, I believe, either today or yesterday. If you attended last year, you would have received one. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to thank the staff again for a very fine job and for all the good work that you're doing with all these projects. I thought the work you did tonight was excellent, and I'm glad to see these projects going forward in a really timely way. So with that, we will adjourn the meeting until August the 8th.